Hey everyone, this is John Joseph with the E-Center, and we're excited to be kicking off a series where we highlight the entrepreneurs who are actually out there starting businesses, growing them, hiring people in our community. And I'm really excited to kick off with my friend Keith Jackson, who's the owner of Jackson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Septic, and Electrical.
Now, you almost got it right. Jackson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric, and Septic.
Okay,
It's
okay.
good though. You did great.
Give
Give you attaboy for that one, John.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, y'all have done a great job expanding those services, and thanks for doing this with us today.
That was exciting. Thank you.
You know, there's no way we could start off talking today. We just can't without starting with the fact that Mayor Fowler passed away yesterday.
Yes.
And he was a friend to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you really spoke well today about what he meant to us. Anything else you want to say about what he meant to you?
Thank you, John. That was really a tremendous, I felt like a responsibility, but also an honor to say a few words about Mayor Fowler at Kiwanis today. I would just like to say again, what a inspiring person he was, a guy that he had the epitome of a servant leader. And that's what I'm working to be as a servant leader, and that's what I pride myself in, is working in the community, but with my employees. They're my team. They're my responsibility to provide them with a really great environment to work in, and as many benefits and as much pay as I possibly can in this market. And so servant leadership, Lynn has been like a mentor to me, which I could never ever, I probably don't know a third of the things he's did over the years for our city, our community. But the things I do know, he inspired me to want to do them and even do more.
That's right.
So I can't say enough about the friendship and how blessed I was for the last 7 years. He's been inspirational to me. He's came and spoke to my team before because I valued him so much.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to share that.
Absolutely. Well, you know, just your journey. I want to talk a little bit about your journey. I want to talk about your team. And just try to get to the bottom of some things that people wonder about and that they may not understand.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I want to start with. You will tell anyone who asks you about your company that the growth really didn't hit until you started working on yourself.
That's exactly
I've heard
right.
you say that a million times. You said it to me, you said it to others. You always emphasize that with people. Like, everyone wants a business, and everyone wants to grow their business, but there has to be this point where you first start working on yourself. So my question is, when you started working on yourself and you started really looking at yourself in the mirror from that vantage point, what was the toughest thing to see?
The toughest thing to see was to look in that mirror and then ask myself, why would people want to work for Jackson? At the time it was Jackson Plumbing. Why would they not want to work for Jackson Plumbing? And so then I began to think about my leadership skills, or lack of. I prided myself that I was a really good plumber, but I had never worked on myself as personal development, no working to grow as a human being. I'm a believer, and I went to church, but I never really went to work on Keith. And once I started working on Keith, and then started working every day, reading, watching podcasts, journaling, I started reading lots of really good books. And I started listening to Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, Jim Rohn, incredible stuff. And then I joined John Maxwell, and I became a Maxwell International Certified teacher and coach, or trainer and coach. And I started doing John Maxwell stuff every day. And I've been through so many of his books. I've been there and saw him in person. And I just was challenged because he talks about the law of the lid. No business can grow more than the capacity of its owner or its leaders. So now we started teaching leadership to our front line. All of our employees are teaching leadership too. But we have a leadership team that we developed in the last 18 months. We're teaching them leadership, and we're just seeing so much astronomical growth in the human being, each person growing. And that's where now today, that's where I get my sense of purpose, is bringing these people in and watching them grow and watching them as human beings become better people. And as that happens and they find that they have a sense of purpose, it's just been amazing to watch that. And it's been like a snowball rolling down a hill. It's this momentum just continues to grow. And our company's grown so fast in the last, now it's been 7 years. since I went to work on me. And what has happened is the whole culture has changed. We went from 8 people to now we got 43 people employed. And for the most part, I'd say 95% of the time, everybody here is happy. They're smiling, they're positive. And that is such a good feeling to create that and be a part of it. And to be able to gauge it.
Yeah.
And then when you see something happen, to be able to sit down with people and say, hey, I see there's something going on. There's something I can help you with. You'd be amazed at how much difference it makes when you truly value your people and care about them. You think you value them until you go to work on yourself and you realize you're pretty hard. I was a hard guy to deal with.
Let me ask you this before we go to your team.
Mm-hmm.
How did you make sure that you weren't just taking in a bunch of information, Maxwell, Roan, all these people, but then not actually making any changes? How did you ensure that you take in this information and there's a way that you're trying to make it result in personal change in your life?
I'll give you this example. I have a really good friend who is, he's the founder of the Blue Collar Success Group. His name is Kenny Chapman. I met Kenny way back in like 2001, and Kenny at that time owned a plumbing company. And we met through a trade organization, and Kenny became a great friend. And then as the years went on, he was being so successful. He was telling me, you need to read this, you need to do that. Well, I'll get the book, we'll be on the shelf.
Yeah.
One of the books that changed the way I see things, the way I think, changed my mindset is Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And I actually read through it in like 2010, but I didn't apply anything. I didn't believe it, okay?
Yeah.
I just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I used to always tell Kenny, what works in your area, your market, won't work in Hartsville, Decatur. That's what I always say because I'm from Hartsville. Just won't work here. He was like, man, you gotta believe it. He's visited here a number of times, and what he saw the last few years has been great. He's had me come out and speak before now for him at some of his events, which is so awesome because the things he was telling me, if I would just apply them and do them on a daily basis, it comes down to daily disciplines.
Mm.
If you do this, 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 and this, you get this result. And that's the key. Once you start getting good results, you just keep doing what you're doing and continue to grow. And then the Maxwell platform has been incredible for me. It's just been, I soak it up.
Let me ask you this. So this transformation's happening. You're caring about your people, not just thinking you're caring about your people, is what I'm hearing you say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then your company starts growing and quickly. Everyone thinks, I want to start a business, I want a fast growing company, so on and so forth. Every entrepreneur I talk to who has a fast growing business is getting slammed. They're exhausted. What was the most challenging part of managing the bucking bull? Like when you're growing fast, everyone wants that, but what do they got to be ready for?
The most challenging part is to believe in your people and delegate and allow them the space to make a mistake.
Okay.
And when they do make mistakes, because we all do.
Yeah.
If I make a mistake, if I own it, I feel like I do believe that my people truly admire the fact that when something happens, if it's bad and I created it, I take responsibility and say, I made a mistake.
Okay.
I want to do whatever it takes to make it right.
Okay.
Now, being able to allow your management team to empower your people to go out and work, and sometimes they're going to make a few mistakes.
Yeah.
When that happens, did we learn from it? And what can we do to prevent it from happening again? And learning to not try to hold on to everything, to be willing to trust people to do. I've never met a person that wanted to not be successful.
Yeah.
I've never met a person want to be a failure.
Mm.
I just don't, I believe we were created to want to do good.
Sometimes I think of you as a person who loves to run a business, but sometimes I think of you as a person who loves your business as a means to the end of affecting people's lives.
I think you just said it right the second time.
Yeah.
I love the fact we do plumbing, heating and cooling, electrical, septic pumping, but that's just a means of a way that we have to bring people in so that we can have a good impact on their life.
You
My
said
personal
purpose
mission
earlier.
statement is to teach people not only a trade, but how to have a happy, successful life.
Mm.
And that's where I really think that changed the game for me when I wrote that mission statement in 2015 in the fall.
So what's the how? So let's just about your team for a minute. How do you keep people motivated? You know, they go outside, it's raining and there's inflation, they're barraged with negative news. They come here, they got a job to do. How do you keep them motivated? How do you connect that job to purpose for them?
We all, as best as we can, we created a culture of giving. quite a few of our team members, and I call them team members to the employees,
Yeah.
go out and we volunteer. I mean, we do habitat houses and they volunteer their time. Toys for Tots, they chip in and buy a bunch of those bikes themselves. So the company provides a lot of that. We do so many things outside of here where it's a heart of giving and becoming a servant. See, a sense of purpose is when someone calls us and their water heater's not working, we get an opportunity to go and serve them and get their life back in order. If their unit's not cooling in July and it's 10 o'clock at night and my guy goes and helps them out, he becomes a hero.
Yes, that's right.
And so last year during the freeze, our guys were working plumbing and heating and cooling 12, 16 hours a day. And they were volunteering. It was amazing. There was, let's get one more family's water back on. Let's get one more family's heat back on. Let's save Christmas.
Wow. Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed at the way they are. The ladies that answer the phone, we had like one scheduled for Christmas Eve because we thought it was gonna be a holiday. Next thing I know, there were 4 of them up here. We didn't call them in.
Wow.
They came to help. That's incredible. That's why I love them, man. I'm telling you, they're incredible people.
That's your purpose now.
Yeah.
Okay. Keith Jackson, anything else you want to say before we wrap
I
up?
just
Thank you.
appreciate you talking to me. And by the way, John, you empower me. Every time I talk to you, I feel so much better. So thank you for your friendship.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.